Hello everyone. Fuck. Hello everyone, Fanta here. You're watching FANTAVISION. And today, it's Christmas. So Merry Christmas to all those who celebrate it. Happy holidays to everyone else. And I'm doing sort of a Christmas themed episode of Tales from Retail. I've got the little fire going here. Thankfully it's not real. And I don't know, I'm just going to discuss what it was like working the holidays at GameStop, because of course it's me doing this alone, and last week we did Walmart, so of course this week's GameStop. I almost didn't do a Tales from Retail this week just because it is so close to Christmas, but I want to make this maybe like a Christmas gift to you guys. I'm doing this anyway. I want to keep to the schedule. I know a lot of people really look forward to this series, so want to make sure all those who are looking forward to it still got it. So I hope your day is going well so far. Thanks for spending a little bit of it with me today, if it is indeed Christmas still when you're watching this. And let's go ahead and dive right in. Today I'm not drinking a beer real quick. I do want to discuss that because I know people will. I'm drinking Arizona Sparkling. It's basically LaCroix, but made by the Arizona company. They make the tea, those giant 99-cent can things. It's like, instead of LaCroix where they whisper the flavor into the can before they seal it up and ship it off, it's like they shouted the flavor into the can as loud as they could, because it actually, this tastes pretty close to like kind of a watered down Sprite, which I'm fine with. I'm used to. I usually put lots of ice in my soda anyway when it gets watered down, that watered down Sprite. It's not too sweet, but it's got that hint of lemon lime. I know I'm going too far into this and people are like, please move on. But I'm not drinking beer right now because it's not nighttime. I still have a lot of different stuff I need to do today. So that's why I'm not drinking a beer. Anyway, let's dive in. So, holidays at GameStop were hectic as you would expect, because a lot of people are buying things last minute because they were open Christmas Eve, and my god, people are just rushing in, making sure they get stocking stuffers, which we did have these really cheap games next to, I believe I discussed this in another video, which I don't think even had anything to do with the holidays. I don't know why I talked about it. We had these game racks on each side of the checkout area, and they were like $2 to $3. I think it was like $5 and below were the games in that little rack. So it was just like, hey, have you played Crackdown before? You should buy Crackdown. Of course, I worked near the end of the 360 life cycle and the beginning of Xbox One. So of course, I was recommending Crackdown to every single person in the world because that game's amazing. That game's so much fun. Getting all those little orbs and doing those missions, and you can kill the bad guys in any order you want, and your guy like evolves and your car evolves, and it was like $2.99 during these times. It was super cheap even back then. I'm sure it still is. You should play that game if you haven't. So I would always tell people, hey, you should pick up a copy of Crackdown. I think we sold out of Crackdown because I kept selling it to people, because it's just a great stocking stuffer and it's just a fantastic game. And so you just sell off all those games, you replenish that area, the store becomes a mess constantly because you have so many people rushing in, going through all the bins. They're looking for like really cheap used games, and a lot of the time we had the buy two get one free used stuff during this time, which was great. So people were buying lots and lots and lots of used games, and they're buying new as well. And you do have to remind people, hey, be sure to look at the bottom of the receipt because you can return it after so long. I believe it was till January. They extend the return policy till, I think, January something. So if you got it for Christmas, you don't like the game, something like that, as long as it's not a new game and you opened it, as long as it's like used, or it's a new game and you didn't open it, you could bring it back. And that was cool. A lot of businesses are doing that nowadays, and that's just really smart. And I'm sure they've done that because of how many people come back the day after Christmas angry, or a week after Christmas angry that they can't return whatever it is. So good on them for extending that return policy, especially for people that do buy gifts a little bit earlier than a lot of people do. A lot of people do a lot of last minute shopping. I am unfortunately guilty of doing this quite a bit. I shouldn't have in the past. I mean, this year I understand I've been very busy, but in the past, I don't really know why I was just procrastinating. Like, you forget the holidays are coming. Like, I kind of get it now that I'm not working in retail. When I'm working in retail, I'm constantly thinking about, oh, the holidays coming up, I gotta buy stuff. I don't want to be these people. But when you're outside of retail, you get it. I get why there were so many last minute shoppers. When I worked retail, I was like, really? You waited this long? I mean, of course we're probably not going to have what you're looking for. You waited too long. Why are you getting upset with me? And now I get it. I mean, you shouldn't be upset at the people that are working there, but I do understand the stress and frustration of having waited to the last second because the holidays snuck up on you and you're now having to panic buy everything and wrap it. I mean, I have to wrap a present downstairs right after this video. I mean, I bought it somewhat ahead of time. I don't know. I bought most of my stuff for people ahead of time, but there were a couple things that it was like, I don't just get my parents. It's so difficult. That's what a lot of people have difficulty with, especially at GameStop too. I mean, these are people that have no idea what video games are, and they're coming in to buy a video game for their kid or friend or their grandkid or their nephew or niece. And it's when you're not into video games, and I've talked about how people asked about video games before. Do you have Mario Kart for the Xbox One? No, that's only on the Nintendo system. Does he have a Nintendo system? I thought the Xbox was made by Nintendo. And then you're just like, okay, well, I don't know what to do here. You should probably call the parents of the kid, or if they are the parents, you're kind of SOL. You're like, well, how do you not know what they have? You bought it for them. So that was definitely the main thing that a lot of people came in. They were just completely clueless, especially grandparents. Usually we're just like, just get them a gift card. Just get them a gift card. How much do games cost these days? I don't know. That's what we did for people that really had no idea. Just get them a gift card. That's really the best idea you can give to anybody. But at the same time, people don't want to buy gift cards because it feels like a boring present. Even though when I receive a gift card, I'm like, hell yeah, I can get whatever the hell I want. That's great. That's wonderful. But a lot of people are like, oh, but I want to get him a gift he can use that day. And that makes sense, honestly. That makes sense. That's why it was so great to at least try to figure out what console it was. You just start having them describe what it looks like. What does it look like? Does it look like this one? Does it look like this one? Does it look like this one? What does the controller look like? Does it look like this one? Does it look like this one? And you're trying to do this detective work to narrow it down to what they want. And then you, of course, have them probably buy a couple of cheap games that you know whoever it is going to enjoy that game most likely. Little Big Planet was another big game that I constantly recommended to people because, I mean, that's a perfect Christmas game. There are just some games that are perfect Christmas games because on Christmas, you might have people coming over and then you'll want to play your new game, but if it's single player, then the people that are coming over will just have to sit there and watch. And I was that kid that had to sit there and watch at other people's Christmas parties on Christmas, and it was boring as hell. So I'd always recommend, Little Big Planet and multiplayer games like that. Even Halo, if they don't have Halo for some reason. So I would try to keep that in mind when also suggesting the gift card as well, if they really don't know what main game they want. And it's like, yeah, it's about $64 after tax if you want to buy a brand new game. And they're like, oh, okay. So then they, put exactly that amount on the gift card. And that's great for them because then they come in, they don't have to pay the tax, and they just get a game. It's like exchanging this piece of plastic for a game. It's great. I enjoyed that a lot as a kid. I enjoy that now when I get gift cards. Usually I get gift cards for food, though, because I like to be alive, and food is expensive. You don't really realize that when you're a kid. Then you grow up and you're like, oh my lord, a huge portion of my money is going towards food. And then you're super busy, you're like, oh my lord, a huge portion of my time is going towards food. Anyway, that has nothing to do with any of this. It kind of does. Whatever. So, another thing that we also did during Christmas was it kind of changed up throughout the years, but one of them was our recommended games. There was like certain sections of the store that were kind of changing. I guess the whole store was constantly changing, but there was this one section that was constantly changing for the holidays. Like you'd put consoles there to show what they look like, which at other locations you couldn't do because they would just get stolen. But our location was a nice location, and I think we got stolen from like once, maybe. We had a couple cases stolen, but who cares? Besides that, it was a good location. It was a good GameStop, so you could kind of trust the people that were coming in. But this one year we had a section that was our recommended games, and we had a row of like 6 or 7 games where we could put our favorites on this little row. So that was pretty cool. So we did that for the holidays, and people could kind of go up to it and look at it. Or people would ask, what do you recommend? Like, well, over here we actually have all of our staff recommendations, and you can take a look at it. And we all have different tastes, so they were quite different. I don't remember what mine was at all. Maybe it had BioShock on there. I don't know. That was another game I recommended once that went cheap, because that is a phenomenal game, and if you haven't played BioShock, you should play it. But that was a pretty cool thing that we had during the holidays. I believe we were allowed to wear Santa hats. I don't think I did. I don't remember. There's little details I don't remember. I might have worn one for a day and went, this is stupid. I don't want to wear this. I don't know. The main thing that really sucks about working during the holidays anywhere really is, unlike now where I work for a company and they give you time off during the holidays. Not all companies do this. Mine is really nice in this regard. I get like December, what is today? The 4th? It's the day before Christmas, yeah. I get December 4th through January 2nd just off. Like, that's phenomenal. That gives me time to make videos and stuff like that. Of course, I won't have time to do videos during that time because I'll actually be going to visit my girlfriend. So I'll be recording a bunch of stuff beforehand. But it's really nice that you get that time off to spend with your family and loved ones, see your friends, all that sort of thing. Get whatever you need to get done. It's great. You get kind of a breather. It's the end of the year. It's nice. It's been hectic up until then because you're trying to get all these things done. Even during retail, it's hectic. You're dealing with lots of customers. You're trying to hit goals. You're trying to do all these different things. And in retail, you never get that breath. Oh, thank God. Okay, I get to catch my breath. I get to relax a little bit. And in retail, you really need that. Retail is way more stressful than an office job because you're constantly dealing with not only your managers and coworkers, but you're dealing with the general public. And the general public is unforgiving. Most of the time, they do not care about how stressed out you might be, about whatever's going on in your life, about not getting any breaks. I mean, you get the day of Christmas off, but most places, like retail establishments, you're going to work the next day. You worked the day before. You might work Christmas Eve. Thankfully, I've heard that Walmart is actually closing at 6 p.m. this year. I don't know when they normally close. I didn't think it was that early, but that's great. I mean, these are 24-hour stores that only close one day a year. That's insane to me. So that means these people are never getting really a big break. And especially when you're working retail, if you're not full-time, even if you're full-time, you might have split days off. I know Eric's going through that right now. He's got split days off. I can't imagine going through that again. It's been several years since I've had to deal with split days off, and that is awful because he was talking about it. I'm like, I remember what that's like because you get the day off, but you're already stressed about the next day because you have to go back to work again. You never get that Saturday feeling where you got to wake up late, you don't have to worry about tomorrow, and you can just relax. You never get that feeling because that's the thing I hate about Sunday. Is Sunday, it's just, well, I have to work tomorrow. I'm limited about how late I can stay up. I'm limited about what I can do. My thought will always be, I have to work tomorrow. And that sucks. And during the holidays, that's even worse when you have split days off, because you never get that breathing period during the most busy time of the year when you really need it. And I urge you all, if you're going to return something, if something was wrong with your item, doesn't matter what store it is, be nice to those people. Those people barely have a holiday at all. They get one day off, and that's it. And that's just, I get it. These stores need to function. They need people working. They need to be open. But it just sucks for those people. It really does. So, I can't really think of anything else to talk about when it comes to Christmas. I know pre-orders sucked because no one's thinking about pre-ordering something. Most of the time it's gifts. They shift all the goals over. They pretty much lower the goal for pre-orders at all. They don't really care about that. They just want you to sell as many items as possible. They want you to sell as much used stuff as possible. And that's both stressful and kind of a relief, because nobody's pre-ordering anything near Christmas. They're all buying gifts. They're all just buying things for themselves. They don't care about... Everything is next year. And next year, even during Christmas time, still feels so far away. It's still... 2019 still feels so far away. And it's Christmas. Like, what? It's not that far at all. But it still feels that way, because you can still say next year. Next year, I'll pre-order that game. Next year, I'll do this. So nobody's doing that in December, really. So they did shift the goals, which was nice, but it also kind of screwed you over at the same time, because you're really trying to push as many items as possible, which is why we had all those cheap items on the sides, and why we were hoping, because some years they didn't have the buy two get one free, we were hoping they'd do the buy two get one free. And if they weren't doing the buy two get one free, we'd try to push the cards, which was another big thing that you had to do. And again, that's difficult when a lot of grandparents and parents are coming in, they don't have those cards. You gotta try to push that card by saying, well, you get a buy two get one free if you buy this card, and they get a magazine every month, and we'll give you... They used to have physical magazine in stores. I don't remember if they have magazines anymore in stores, but that used to be a big thing. Like, oh, you could put this in their stocking, which honestly, if I was a kid and I got like a Game Informer in my stocking and said, we renewed your subscription and you get to buy two get one free, and I think I'd be pretty happy. I'd be pretty happy with getting a gaming magazine. But that was back then. I think that was a bit different, because now the internet's kind of taken over. I think a kid would be like, what is this? Is this made of paper? What? I can't just swipe it and touch it? I know that's like the stereotypical joke about kids these days and how they don't really have to worry about print media. But that was what we used to do. We used to make stocking stuffer suggestions and stuff like that to kind of rack up how many pre-owned and how many items they got. And, nowadays I feel like it'd be even more difficult, because they really did push that pre-owned percentage. And with the way GameStop has structured their business, you walk in, what's the first thing you see? Board games, pop figures, action figures, trading cards, t-shirts. If they're still pushing the same percentages of pre-owned that we were getting pushed to sell, that's going to be really difficult. They're going to get those numbers just fine with how many items per transaction. But man, percentage of pre-owned is going to be a bitch. I feel like it's got to be just every day, every week, with all those friggin' items in there. I don't know. You can't have a used t-shirt. It's not Goodwill, it's GameStop. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Tales from Retail Holiday Edition. And like I said, enjoy the time with your family. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for 2018 being such a wonderful year for me, for the channel, just overall. It's incredible how this channel has grown. I've made so many friends through this channel. I met my girlfriend through this channel. It's insane. Just everything everything's been kind of crazy this year. So I want to thank you so much, everybody, and have a fantastic holidays. See you guys.